All right, we need to talk about the frankly shambolic English Rugby Football Union and its chief executive, Bill Sweeney. And if you're English, you've got a vested interest in this one. If not, you might be thinking, oh, do you know what? I'll swerve this video, Tim. But here's why you shouldn't. Well, I mean, firstly, you can just have a laugh at England's expense. It's all right. I know that the rest of the rugby world does that regularly. It's fine. I've come to peace with it. In fact, drink it in. But more importantly, I bet you, wherever you are, you have question marks over how rugby's being administered, whether that's just locally, national union, or world rugby. And if you, like me, think there's a bit of a disconnect between people at the grassroots of the game, at the coalface, out there doing it, and the people at the top running the sport, then I think this story cuts to the heart of that schism in our sport that is causing some problems. So I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Please as well, I would love it if I would earn your subscription. So what is going on? What is the latest? Well, this is all started from an RFU report, financial report, which was published this week. The latest is that the RFU Council may well have a vote of no confidence in the executive, including Bill Sweeney, the chief executive, and Tom Eloub, the RFU chairman. The council, without getting too boring or deep into it, they're the people that locally, so my local club, we will have a vote for our local county representative who will go to the RFU every now and again for a meeting and represent us. Those people may well have a vote of no confidence. It's happened before, in fact, last year, over the whole tackle height shambolic way that the RFU managed that, but nothing came of it. Maybe it will this time, I don't know. But the point is, lots of people are quite upset about the financial report, which showed, firstly, record losses for the RFU, £38 million in losses, giant financial hole blown in the RFU's budget, and at the same time, Bill Sweeney, the chief executive, getting a record payout, £1.1 million, making him the highest paid national governing body chief exec of any sport in the land. £358,000 of that is a bonus because he achieved a load of his targets. I'll get to those in a minute. And he got an 8.5% increase on his salary as well. It's just a bad look. Record losses and a record payout for the man at the top. How? How has this happened? It's been covered. That's a question that lots of people are asking. It's been covered right across the board. There have been former chief executives of the RFU being interviewed, saying it's a disgrace and the guy needs to go, resign, him and the RFU chairman. Whether that happens, we'll wait and see on that one. The people at the top of the RFU have said they're totally behind Bill Sweeney, but I think the pressure may be coming from the grassroots and up, louder and louder, because there's been a lot of things that just don't feel right alongside this announcement. Well, firstly, it wasn't so long ago that 42 members of staff at the RFU were axed. Their jobs were made redundant. Families are adjusting to a new life without that job. And yet the man at the top gets a record payout. It's not a good look. And it's not just the jobs. This is one round of cuts. There's been a load of other jobs in recent years that have gone as well. Rugby development officers, the people that go out to clubs and go to schools to promote the sport, a load of those were cut not so long ago as well. Yet Bill Sweeney gets his record payout. Under Bill Sweeney, a load of Premiership clubs went bust. London Irish, Worcester and Wasps, and also Jersey in the Championship. 4 professional clubs go pop. The Premiership adjusting to their new, their new setup. All of the players took a 25% pay cut to get through, to navigate through the choppy financial waters. Bill Sweeney gets a payout. Now, the RFU aren't to blame entirely for this. The clubs mismanaged themselves quite badly, but the RFU certainly didn't help. Also, it costs an absolute fortune to go and watch a game at Twickenham. And imagine how fans feel, having coughed up £229 in some cases for tickets against New Zealand, and then they see Bill Sweeney getting a £358,000 bonus despite record losses. And there's been other decisions that have been made by the RFU which have financial implications. The Championship funding slashed again to its lowest ever level. At the same time, this professional game partnership is sending a load of money to the national team, which I understand it. On the one hand, you can say this gives Steve Borthwick more access to key men in his squad. a sort of version of a central contract, and that'll be good for the national team. Equally, you could also frame it partly as Premiership clubs are not doing very well. These players could earn much more money going and playing in France. So the RFU are chucking a bit of extra money to subsidise the Premiership clubs to stop these guys going away and earning what they could earn elsewhere. So tough decisions are being made financially. And when all this is going on, massive bonuses do not look good. And I mentioned the disconnect between the grassroots game and the top. And that's what it feels like to me. That's why people who are going to their local rugby club to training or to play this Saturday or Sunday are just scratching their head going, how can this be? Because as I say, the support for these grassroots clubs has dipped as well. Those development officers are gone. The people that go and promote the sport and go into schools or help upskill coaches, a load of those are gone as well under Bill Sweeney's watch. And I think this is something that probably people around the rugby world can probably connect with, a feeling that it's what we're experiencing on the ground level every Tuesday, Thursday night or Saturday afternoon, whatever the case may be, and what the people administering the sport are doing just doesn't feel joined up right now. So how on earth did Bill Sweeney get this £358,000 bonus? Well, he had targets to hit. One of them was a financial performance target. And of course, £38 million losses, no way he's getting that, is there? So no, didn't get. Oh no, he did get that one. He got his financial performance target because the financial performance target was revenue related. Not profit, revenue. Who on earth signed that off? And who are they? So we should get rid of them as well. What? That's not how businesses run. Like, this is the difference. So the RFU is not like a public limited company answerable to its shareholders. It's a governing body. It's there to represent and run on behalf of the people at the bottom, the grassroots, like I talked about. That's not how businesses work. You don't give performance targets on revenue when you're making a nearly £40 million loss, but he passed that financial target. Well done, guys. Next one, the win rate of the England team. So obviously the England team hasn't been playing very well at all, so he's not got that. Oh no, he has got that one as well. I'll explain why in a minute. The mind boggles. Next performance target for Bill Sweeney, participation numbers. Now, I know that the numbers have gone down participating in rugby in England. Sad to say, but it's true. So he's definitely not getting, oh no, he gets that one as well. I'll explain why in a second. The mind boggles. And the final one, rugby inclusivity. Now, I don't know what that means. Probably best I don't say anything because I don't know. All I know is that's the one Bill Sweeney didn't get the target of, whatever it is. But there you go. So £358,000 because he got. How did he get those targets? Well, the financial planning, it was on ratio. The win rate of the England team, another target. Now, this is a period which saw Bill Sweeney get rid of Eddie Jones at great expense, hire Steve Borthwick and his coaches at great expense, and England to have a 58% win rate. So how on earth is Bill Sweeney getting his performance bonus for that? Because he counts the women's game, the women's team in amongst it as well. And the two together create a 75% overall win rate, and he gets his bonus. Now, the England women's team are basically best in the world, and next year is going to be a massive year for women's rugby. And so I don't want to take anything away from that. And I want everyone who can and is interested in playing rugby to go and play rugby, whoever you are. But the financial success, the organisational success of the RFU is ultimately judged on the men's game and the elite men's team. And this, I don't know how that was allowed to happen. And as I say, the people who came up with this set of targets, I think they need to go as well. To be perfectly honest, this remuneration committee or whoever they are, they need to go because they're not fit for purpose. The participation numbers I mentioned, I know they've gone down. In 2019, it was just under 200,000. And it dropped from there to where we are now. So how on earth did Bill Sweeney get his performance target? How did all the executive get their performance targets? Because they counted the numbers compared to just after the pandemic. after they'd already hemorrhaged a load of rugby players. And the reason they hemorrhaged a load of rugby players, by the way, is because rugby was dreadful. I remember this. My local club, I was pulling my hair out at the start of it all, and I've sort of memory hold this whole window of time, but I remember this. I remember just thinking, we were the last sport back. Rugby union was the last sport back. There was all the big talk going into the pandemic. Oh, we're going to be the first sport back. It was the last sport back, and it's no wonder it hemorrhaged so many players. But of course, that low ebb is what they're comparing it to. So, give yourself a pat on the back and take your money. So, difficult decisions have been being made financially. And when I think about those performance targets, it makes me question some of the decisions that have been made in recent years. And the Women's Premiership is one of them. Again, totally supportive of anyone who wants to play the sport, whoever you are playing the sport. But bearing in mind that performance target, and the England team weren't doing very well, but the women winning all but one game meant that Bill Sweeney and the executive all get their cash. They made a decision to invest in the Women's Premiership. And I say invest, I don't think, bearing in mind, the Premiership's not making money. Nowhere, no league in rugby, except for maybe the top 14 in France, is making money. So that £220 million is not an investment. When you invest in something, you expect to get a return on what you spent. I think they've spent £220 million, or are spent in the process of spending, and you may well say that is money well spent. Fine by me. And I'm okay with that. My point being is, I'm just thinking back to those performance targets, and now I'm going, has that influenced some of the decisions? Because at the same time that the Women's Premiership has been funded, and again, great for them, good for them, good for the women's game. I'm not knocking that. But at the same time, the Championship has been decimated. And now it makes me go, are they making these decisions because it gets them their 100, 300, 400 grand bonuses? Because let me put it in these terms. The Championship, by the way, I'm a massive advocate of, and I think it's had a huge part to play historically of the success of the English national team, because having a really good competitive second tier of the game is massive for having somewhere for those developing players to go and play high quality rugby that prepares them for the next step. And what they've done to the Championship, I think, is outrageous. Let me put it like this. It was only a few years ago the Championship was getting £7.7 million of funding. That's for the whole league, all 12 teams. So it was £640,000 per club. That was only a few years ago. Now, the lowest ever, £1.6 million for the entire league, £133,000 per club. So my point here is, decisions are being made in difficult financial times. We're going to put our money there, and we're not going to put our money there. And now I'm asking the question, why? Is it because that's the best thing for the sport? Or is it because that's the best thing to help the executive achieve their bonuses, which someone has set them? I don't know the answers. I'm only posing questions at this point. It just makes me wonder and analyse it with fresh eyes. And I don't know what the rights and wrongs are. I don't know what the right and wrong thing to do is or would be. It just makes me cynical now. Just makes me cynical. And I guess fundamentally, everything in the English game comes back to the English men's national team, because the English men's national team are the one that fill out Twickenham. It's the one that brings in all the advertising revenue. It's the one that is the beacon for the sport, and that is what everything should be centered around. And it just feels, well, that, and yeah, but in order to achieve the best possible England national team, then the decisions need to be made at the grassroots level, like development officers that go into schools and promote the sport and get people participating, like the Championship is supported, because that helps the English men's national team, which is ultimately what pays for everything. And yeah, I wonder. Now I'm looking at it and going, I wonder what you can't quantify it, but I wonder how much of the disappointments around the English men's national team is down to decisions that are being made that we're not even aware of under the surface at the RFU. I don't know. I just know that Bill Sweeney, mate, you've got to go. You've got to go. And whether that's the council having a vote of no confidence, whether that's the member clubs having a vote of no confidence, I think his days are numbered. And I know we've seen it before, but I think this time it feels a little bit different. Just feels wrong. And we will see. That's my thoughts anyway. And like I say, do you know what I really appreciate? Having this channel so I can just splurge out my thoughts. I've worked on the radio and rugby, and I wouldn't be able to talk for this long, or even, to be honest, when I've worked on radio and television, I've been the one asking the questions of other people, not giving my own opinion. It's quite nice to just be able to throw some ideas out there and kind of work it out as I'm going. And I will be there with you in the comments as this unfolds. Excuse me. Let me know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.